Welcome to Retirement Ain't Easy. I'm your host, Chuck, and today I thought I'd do a little off-the-cuff video about retirement and how things are going. First off, anything I say here, a disclaimer, this is my retirement. I do these things for my own well-being based on my knowledge. Don't take anything I say as you should do the same. Just want to make that clear. I'm just a Joe Schmuck with an Excel spreadsheet and a subscription to Bolden. But I recently watched a video from Joe Kuhn this morning, and he listed a whole bunch of stuff on what he didn't miss from work. And I thought, and I actually commented on his video, and I thought, maybe I need a venting video. It's been a year since, in fact, it's March. Here we are, March 2025. March 2024 was when I first took my first Social Security withdrawal payment, whatever you want to call it. In fact, this week I'm a second Wednesday guy. If you're familiar with how Social Security works, so I'm a second Wednesday guy, and this is the second Wednesday of March, or second week of March. So my Social Security would be coming out this coming Wednesday. I'm filming this on a Monday. But my bank allows me to see my stuff early, so I've already got it in my checking account, and I've already used it to pay bills. But anyway, this video is about retirement. No fancy intros, anything like that. I'm just off the cuff. Like I said, I watched the Joe Kuhn video this morning and commented on it, and I got to thinking about all the things that about work that I don't miss. I retired December 31st, 2023. So that makes me retired 14 and a half months now, give or take a few. And I got some notes here because I was like, I really don't want to completely go off the rails on this. So I want to stay pretty clear. So I worked for a small company for the last 13 years before I retired. And before that, I worked for a really huge international company, both in telecommunications. One was strictly telecommunications, the AT&T, those kind of guys we sold to, if you remember MCI. The second company I worked for was a spinoff from the first company, and we became a government contracting company, selling our wares, our telecommunications wares, to the U.S. government, local and state governments as well. So what I don't miss about working, number one, every year, security clearance training, annually. Every year, because of my status, we had to go through, well, actually the whole company had to go through security clearance training. And it was the same training every year with the same test. And so, it got to be monotonous. I mean, I was doing that for 10 years, every year. Second one I don't miss, ISO 9001. If you're familiar with the International Standards ISO organization and what they do, then you know what I'm talking about. We had internal audit, and then we had an external audit. Every year we had to prepare for that. And being a manager of a department, I was the process owner. So I was in all of these meetings whenever we had these audits. And we never failed an audit. I give you that. We had no findings, and definitely not in my areas. We kept a pretty tight organization, and our processes were always in order, and we followed them. So don't miss that, though. Don't miss the internal audits or the external audits, because there's always an anxiety level that we got to. No one wanted to get a finding. You didn't want to be the first to get a finding, let me put it that way. Let's see, another one, illogical deadlines. It seemed like it was always, we're a government contracting company, so it was always dealing with some kind of defense contract, for instance, and there was always hurry up and wait, which is, I think, the military slogan, definitely the Army slogan of hurry up and wait. So we'd have strict deadlines and then we'd work to meet those deadlines, and then the customer wasn't ready for us. For instance, if we had to deliver a lab, for instance, at a certain place, we would get it all tested and get it all put together, ready, get it ready to ship, and the customer would be like, "Well, the site's not ready. We were waiting on electrical, or we're waiting on some approval from somebody." So that was again very frustrating. I don't miss that. Illogical decisions forced on us. There's a lot of decisions that just didn't make sense. I don't know why some of them were made, and even when you ask, I mean, when you question decisions, some of the decisions, you get branded with a bad attitude. Well, this guy's got a bad attitude, and so then you start getting excluded from things, and then of course it gets even worse because then decisions come down on you just out of the blue, and you're like, well, what does this have to do with it? And I got tired of being micromanaged. That's one. Ooh, that's one I do not like. Not like being micromanaged and told how to run my department. Nope, 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 nope. Don't do that to me. That's probably one of the big triggers for me retiring. That and a couple other things, but that's a big one right there. Don't micromanage your people. If you interviewed them and you hired them, let them do what you hired them to do. You obviously hired them because you thought they could do the job. So why do you go back and micromanage them? I was a manager for 35 plus years. I knew the job inside and out. It wasn't a challenge, for one thing. One of the other big things that really got on my list was I'm an ex-project manager, certified project management professional. If you're familiar with the PMP certification process, it's not an easy process. You got to take a freaking unbelievable test and pass it. Before that, you had to take like training, of course, to pass the test. And so I'm a trained PMP project manager. I've been for decades now, and the company I got out of that role in this company, and the company had hired people that were not project managers as project managers, simply because they were maybe familiar with the customer, because they came from the customer's organization, that kind of thing. But they couldn't run a project to save their lives. And of course, being the certified project manager that I am, and it got to be where I would just run things behind the scenes. Here, I would give them here, you're going to need this report for your customer, or here, you're going to need this report for management. You're going to need this inventory, blah, blah, blah. I would do a lot of things for these guys, and then they turn around and they would get double thumbs up from management. You guys are doing a great job. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of burned. That was another trigger. Performance reviews. I had to do performance reviews. At the end of my career, the last couple of years, I only had to do like 4 performance reviews by that point. But there were times where I had to do tons of them. And I always hated the question, even when my boss would come in and do my performance review, I don't really need this. Just let me sign the paperwork and just get it over with. It was always, I hated those questions like, well, what do you see yourself doing in 5 goals? Or what's your goal for the next 5 years? And it's like, to stay employed. I have no career aspirations. I just want to stay employed and get a raise every year. They didn't like that answer. Anyway, I got a little sarcastic my last couple of years there, and so you get labeled, he's got a bad attitude, and then you kind of just get clicked out. There's always that company clique that makes the decisions. At one point you were in all that, you were in doing all that, you were busy, blah, 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 and then you kind of just, no, and they don't include you. That's another trigger to retire. You just get tired of that shit. Those are all the items that I could think. Well, there's more, but I'm not going to turn this into an hour-long venting session for you. But I did walk away from a pretty good gig, and they really wanted me to stay around. And actually, when I had my review mid-year of 2023, I had no intentions of retiring at that time in June 2023 because I had my review with my boss. And I said, no, I plan on doing it end of 2024. I remember saying that in my review. And then some things happened, these kind of things with the project management, and the frustrations built up. And I had a good buddy who I worked with, was probably the biggest catalyst. He came to work one day in October, wasn't feeling well. He had just come off the road, wasn't feeling well on the road. He was still working his butt off, but feeling like crap. And he went to the doctor. I remember he went to the doctor on a Wednesday afternoon and never saw him again. The doctor immediately put him in the hospital. He passed away in November from colon cancer. Something that could have been prevented if he had a colonoscopy. But he wasn't that keen on doctors and stuff. So that triggered a deal. And he passed away in 2022. That was November 2022. And so that got me to thinking. And then when 2023 came around, and I started doing the numbers, doing this whole spreadsheet thing and running the numbers. And if I took my Social Security here, I've got this pension, blah, blah, blah. All the signs pointed to, I could easily live 15 years on the money I've got saved right now. So that's main trigger for me retiring. Now, why did I take Social Security at 62? Same reason I took my pension at 55. Live for today, because you don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. And I know a lot of people, oh, you can't do that. You need to have savings, blah, 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 blah. I understand your concerns, but I want my money now. I want to live now comfortably, and we'll go forward, and we'll deal with that when it comes. Like I said, I didn't just think about this on the top of my head. I did run the numbers, and I did do out scenarios, what happens here, and I'm pretty sure I've got enough money to live till I'm 88. But the numbers I'm running are based on certain things, and does not include other certain things that are in the future. I guess I'm saying we have a safety net if anything happened, besides the house here. So that's all. I just want to do a little off the cuff video and talk about retirement. And retirement, it ain't easy. Once a month, you monitor your money and see how it's going. The stock market's been looking like shit lately, but if you follow certain things, Joe Kuhn has a lot of good ideas about the buckets and things like that. That helps a lot. That relieves your anxiety about money. If you're like me, you have a lot of toys and crap that you need to downsize. And I'm looking at a wall of guitars hanging on the wall right here. I've got guitar amps that I don't play out anymore, at least not electrical band music. So I'm slowly looking at getting rid of a lot of stuff here. So if you're interested, hit me up. I got guitars, I got amps. So that's it. That's all I want to say. I just want to clear some things and get some things off my chest that Joe really brought up with his video this morning. Got me thinking too. There's a lot of stuff that I just don't miss, and I'm so glad I am who I am. So that's it. Talk to you later. Oh, like, subscribe, and do the bell thing. Anyway, peace.